Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. Sorry, I'm coming down with man flu again here at the moment, so yeah, apologies if I start sneezing and stuff. As you can see, this time I'm looking at another NES. It's got a bit of a crack there, you might not be able to see that. It's very subtle, I can probably glue it from the inside, it's not that visible. There's a little chip there, and this one's a bit yellowed compared to the last one. But if I just power this up without carting, you'll see, got the power light, and you just get the flashing white screen there, so I guess that's normal. It's doing a reset. I've put the game in. First issue is it goes in okay, but as soon as you push it down, it's like I say, doesn't want to engage, and then it doesn't want to come back out. So there's something wrong with the mechanism there, and I guess the cart pins as well. So as you can see, that's coming up. You can see some graphical artifacts or some pixels out of place there on the Mario Brothers logo. So it could be bad VRAM, I think. One of the SRAMs in there is faulty, or the connections. I mean, because it's intermittent. I mean, I put this card in and it just kept doing a reboot loop. So I suspect, in fact, that may well be the case. Because if you remember the first one of these I did, that's exactly what happened with my other NES. And once with the CIC mod, this game worked. So I think this is a US cart. It doesn't say what region it is. No indications there at all. So. Can't be 100% sure, but that certainly seems to be the case. Anyway, so I'll just strip this down and we'll just have a look at the cart connector and the actual fitting inside. So apologies, the light's just not very good in here this evening at all. If you want a sort of better look at the inside of one of these, take a look at my previous NES Teardown, but it's identical, there's no difference here. It might be a slightly different revision motherboard, but everything's in the same places. This board, as you can tell, is pretty dirty. It's got some spilt and stuff on it previously, and it's just looking a bit mucky. So I'll clean it up as part and parcel of this me tearing this down now. But something of note here while I'm here, as you can see, this just works fine now without the lid on. So not sure what's going on there. Not sure if the plastic has become warped or something. Maybe it just wasn't screwed together properly. I don't know. Look at the inside of that needs cleaning as well. But anyway, now I'll just remove the shielding, get this out of here, and just have a look at the cart slot. So it's pretty crusty in there. If I just zoom in a little bit, hopefully you'll be able to see this. As I've taken this off, there's some shit there on the board, like corrosion or something, so I'll clean that up. The cartridge slot is looking pretty good again, to be honest, if I show you this. It's just a bit of a bend, you can see the pins on the outside are sort of lower down than the pins on the inside. There's like a little arc, sort of goes like that there. But it's subtle. I think I'm going to clean that up, that'll probably be alright. I really don't think I'm going to need to do much with that at all, really. I think it's making a reasonably good connection from how it feels when you put the cart in there manually like that. It's, yeah, I can tell it's probably alright. Just need to clean up, I think. Right, well, I'm sorry about the lack of light here in the moment, but that's working now, as you can see. Yeah, Duck Hunt is working fine. And it works, it doesn't matter what how many times you take the cart in or out. Like I say, it'll just work. Take the thing out, put it back in, switch it on. Just works, flawless. If I try the other two carts, if I just take that out, where's my other one's gone? Tennis, this is an American region, as I've worked out from my previous video. Switch that on, you'll see lockout chip, that's correct, because I haven't done the lockout mod yet. And it will do the same with this Marble Madness. And it's an interesting point here. It confused me a little to start with. I did a conversion of this. This is a UK, PAL region game now, but it was American originally, so it's got the US lockout chip. And as you'll see, you still get the lockout, and that's because it's it's like I say, it's got a US lockout chip, despite the fact the game code is European, PAL. So, but it's working fine. One thing I'll just mention while I'm here, as well as one final thing I did to this, I didn't just clean it. I actually got the blade out and actually ran it across, not that way, because obviously you'll catch on each of the pins and probably damage them, but if you run it the other way, you can feel it sort of vibrate across all of the tops of the pins. You know, it rubs on each one, and that was what was needed. The pins were not bent, you know, as you can see. It's probably too dark to see, but they're not bent at all. But it still wasn't working. It was still extremely intermittent. But once I did that on the top and then on the bottom, you know, let's say away from, not towards the blade, but away from the blade, across each of the pins, you could hear it inside sort of grinding away on the tops of the pins. That's worked. You know, just cleaning it conventionally wasn't solving it, and they certainly didn't need bending. So there we go. I'll do the CIC mod to this now anyway while I'm here, I think, and then reassemble it. So now I've got it working. I've got a torch here. It's going dark, so I can't do much more tonight. You might not be able to see this, but just here on the where this little connector, I think it's for the reset and power switches and things go. It could be, yeah. It's the other. It's one of the players actually. I think it's player 2 input. There's some corrosion there, so I need to clean that up. I want to clean the inside of the case out as well, because if you look, there's some. You might not be able to see it very well in this light, but there's loads of yucky sort of brown shit and stuff in there. So I will do a bit more of an extensive teardown tomorrow when there's more light. Clean the case, and I'll show you me just sort of resoldering, putting some flux on there, cleaning that up, put some fresh solder onto those connections there. But it's working, you know, rock solid now. You can take the carts in and out, just shove them in any which way, and they just work. It's just absolutely flawless. That razor blade made the biggest difference there. Up until that point, it was a bit intermittent, and I was suspecting, you know, I cleaned it multiple times, and I was suspecting that it would either need a new connector or it would need the pins bent. But clearly, you know, the pins don't look bent, and I just think it's just probably lack of use. There was corrosion, you know, on there that just wasn't coming off with cleaning materials. But when you use the knife that way there, like that, it will, you know, get rid of any of the corrosion that's just on the surface there where it makes contact with the card. You know, the PCB edge. So, yeah, I'm comfortable with that. That's absolutely rock solid. And the CIC chip, obviously, is why tennis is now working, because that's a US game. And it's the same story with my Marble Madness, and I've tried this with all 3 of these carts. I've had them in and out, in and out, in and out, and they just work. So really pleased with that. Could do with a bit of retro brighten on the case, but after I've cleaned the case up, some of the yellowing might come off with a bit of isoprop and some plastic polish. We'll see what that looks like in better daylight. So in order to clean that corrosion up, the first thing I'm going to do is just get a little bit, a tiny bit of vinegar onto there, which is acid. It's not alkaline. It's important to know. I'll be doing a correction actually when I do the second part of the Amiga corrosion, the Amiga 500 corrosion video. But when you look at sort of battery acid, and this isn't battery acid, but I'm using this anyway. When you look at battery acid damage, it's actually 9 times out of 10 it's alkaline that you actually get on the board. And the reason you use vinegar is because it's acetic acid. To neutralise, you know, try and lower the pH level. Yeah, so I should be using lint-free really, but I'll use the brush and stuff just to get that cleaned up a little bit in a sec. So the next thing there is just use a tiny bit of isoprop to clean that. And then we'll just get some fresh, I'll wipe that off, I'll brush it off, and get some fresh solder and flux onto those connections there. But that's all it needs. It's just a tiny little bit of corrosion really, not much. We'll just try and clean up some of this while we're here as well. There's a few dark, you know, sort of bits and things near the edges. It's not so bad, this board is fairly clean. I think on this side of the board here, there are a few marks that you can see, which I'll just clean up, like down here. This just needs a bit of a wipe. Yeah, something sticky or gooey or something's been on there, just on the very edge of the shielding. The actual board's okay, so I'll just do that, you know, and then resolve that joint. So it's not mega clean there, but you might not be able to tell. There's one of those two points there look like there's not lots of, you know, it's not clean solder, but it is. It's just it's been very difficult to do. So and there's, you know, the corrosion was extending through to the solder mask there, you know, just with a tiny bit of cleaning, and it's come off there. As you can see, it's gone a bit silvery when I've recoated it with some flux and solder, but that's a lot better now. I can see there's good connectivity there, and if you're wondering, actually, they're related to the caps on the underside there, which connect to the, I think the controller lines pass through them or something. So anyway, yeah, just let that focus a little bit. It is looking a lot better, so there's no worries there. There's no other corrosion on this board, so I think I'll just, while I'm here, I'm going to do the stereo mod. Sorry, not the, I might do the stereo mod later, but I'm going to do the expansion audio mod for the on the expansion port underneath here, just in case someone wants to run an EverDrive on this. Right, so here's the end result on this NES. This is the best I could get. This is in a right state, you know, because there were pieces of the case chipped out, and you're going to be able to see the colour difference here. Can you see it's like a light grey? You know, there's no way I could get that just right. Someone could just smooth that down, refill it, and do it themselves if they want. But in the right light, it just looks a lot better, especially from the front and stuff. It looks like there's nothing missing. It's the same there. It looks a bloody mess, really. But again, it's one of these, you could just redo this yourself if, you know, if someone buys this and decides to, and I'll point these out, you know, I'll point that these have been refilled, and it's usually, you know, a different shade of grey paint there, just to fill the hole more than anything. But I don't want to respray this. It's just going to look a mess, and just looks a bit better than having a hole there, I think. And the other thing is with the label, you know, the original label just was in tatters, it just came off. So it's got a new label on there now, so, you know, it does look a lot better. And there was a crack in there that wasn't evident when I first took this apart, but yeah, there was, you can see. So yeah, the glue has just made a bit of a mess of that, so not happy with this, but this is as good as it's going to get. The main thing is it's got a good board in this, you know, it works, you know, totally. I've been testing it on all sorts of different games and things, and on the EverDrive. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so it's a good board, you know, there's a good, the bottom half of this is really good. The cart slot, that was what I was going to say, it's got an exceptional cart slot. It's very much like the one I've kept for myself. I didn't need to do anything really other than just clean it. They're very straight, no bent pins or anything like that. I did do the CIC mod to this, so you put a cart in now and it just works every single time as well, any region. So overall, it's not a bad little system. I did think about keeping this as a spare. I might end up doing that, yeah, I don't know, we'll see if there's any demand to buy this, but, you know, because it's still a bit yellowed as well. I did, you know, it has been, I did get the H2O2 onto this, but as you can see, this side here is just a little bit yellowed, and the front's a little bit yellowed, you know, and that lid. But, yeah, not much more I can do with it, really. At least it's all in one piece now, it works, you know. And I also did the resistor mod there under the expansion slot for the EverDrive expansion audio, so if anybody uses this with an EverDrive, they'll get the expansion audio as well, which is good. Anyway, thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.